Hello, my name is Claudio Kish, student number 1317978, and in this video I will show my implementation of the LSL referral assignment. Um, I started working on my assigned workspace, which has my name on it. The first object that I built was this door, which uses uh, two cubes linked up together. And the reason why it uses two cubes is because the first time I tried doing this door script on a single object, the door would rotate from the middle. So I made it that this door links to this uh, object, and when this object rotates, it takes the door with it since it's linked. To do this, I used this script, which uses touch start so that when any user will touch the door, it will change the state to open. Now it has two states, so in the open state, when it does uh, change to that state, using state entry, it will execute this code, which is it creates a new variable of type rotation, and it gets the rotation which I want to give it. So on the x-axis, it'll take minus 90 degrees, which will open the door towards the inside of the house. And when it does set the rotation, it gets the rotation which I wanted, plus it times it with the position of my character. So it'll use get rotation to get the angle of my avatar. Uh, so when it does change to the open state, the door will open, and finally in the open state, when after it executes this code, in that state, if the door is touched, it will change the state to closed. So what it does is, when it's already opened and is clicked, it will then close the door using another variable called closed door of type rotation, which gets the rotation which I want, and the rotation I'm giving is 90 degrees, so it comes back to where the original was, gets the angle of the avatar again, and it'll set the rotation of the door, so it'll set it back. And in the end, if the door is touched again, it will change the state to open again. So every time the user touches the door, it will open and close using the states and the touch start. Okay. Next, I will present the hostess. It's just a model I imported into the world and then added the textures to it. But what's important is the text is the script. So it uses two scripts basically. The first one, I'll use a sensor repeater event, which listens. The sensor will look for any avatar with any ID in a 10-meter radius. Using in a sphere type, so she's basically in the middle of this circle, and she looks all around in a 10-meter radius using pi, and then it repeats this action every 2 seconds. When the sensor does senses something, it'll trigger the detected state, which here I have three variables: a vector of color, which sets the color to yellow, the opacity, and then a string called getName, which has welcome in, normal text, and then it adds the name of the avatar, so it'll detect the name, and then use LSetText event to set this text over here on the object, which is I'll give it the name, the color, and the opacity. I also added a bit of code to it. If she is touched, um, it will just, for example, if I touch her, she will use LLSay on the 0 channel, which is the basic channel, just to say this is where, and it will use the event getOwner to get the my avatar's ID, and then in order to say my name, I will use LL key to name to convert that avatar key to a name, and then it'll say work. So the way it works is, because the sensor detected me, it will say my name over here. And also if I click her, it'll say this is the property, this is where Claudio Kiss works. Okay. Next, I will show the lights. So I have 4 lights in this room. Yes. and a switch. So what it does is if I click the switch, the lights turn on, all of them. And if I click the switch again, the lights turn off. So the way this works is I'll start off with the lights so we can get any of the lights and then see the script. Just called it lights on off. So again, what it does is it will, on state entry, it will use the event LL listen to listen on these two channels that I've created. The reason why I've made them negative is so that because avatars cannot listen to negative channels. So it will listen on these two channels for any type of text. It doesn't matter what. So if they receive any type of text on those channels, they will launch this code. So once one of these events does listen to something on that particular channel, it will check. So if the channel is the one I specified here, it will turn the lights on, meaning it will set the color to 0. And if the channel is the other one, which I specified here, and checks if the channel is this one, it will set the color to black. So as we can see, they're set to black right now, which looks like they were turned off. I also added a bit of code which with touch start. So if the avatar touches this globes, they will turn green. So I'll show the green color here. Now, for example, if I do touch it, it will turn green, and if I touch it again, it will just stay like that. So the way it works is, let's go to the switch. In the switch, I have another script which uses touch start and states again. So the way it works is, when you first use touch start on it, it will change the state of the state to lights on. And lights on state is pretty simple. It'll just use LLC on this channel that I have set up to just say turn on. Well, it doesn't really matter what it says. It can say anything, but as long as it says it on this channel, the lights will turn on. And then, while it still stays in this state, if I touch it again, it will change the state to lights off, in which in lights off state, I'll just use LLC on this channel to turn off the lights. Again, it doesn't matter which text it uses. And after that, it will just bounce between these two states because of touch start. And every time they're touched, it will change states from lights on to lights off. So the way it works is, every time you click it, it will turn them on, and then if you click it again, it will turn them off. Because all of these objects listen on the same channels, when I click this button, it affects all of them at the same time. So yes. Next, I will show the TV, which is a TV I made over here. I just added this texture to a cube that I shaped like this, and then if I click on it, it will start animating this texture, and it looks like a TV that doesn't have signal. So in order to make this, I did the animation script, which again has two states. The reason why I added the close state is so I wouldn't leave the script running all the time. So what it does is, again, when it is touched, it will go into the open state, and in this state, on state entry, it will set the text. It will use LL set texture animation event to set the animation of this texture over here. It will set the animation to on, smooth, and to loop over and over. I've set the animation to be on all sides, and then we can set the animation start point and animation speed like this. For example, if I change this to 2, it will change the animation speed. But once I change state again, and in the closed state, all I did was on state entry use the same event, but I didn't turn the animation off here. I just set the speed of the animation to 0. So what it does is, if I click on the image, it will stop the animation. If I click it again, it will run again. Okay. And for my final item that I have added, the computer. This computer is another model I imported, and then I just added the texture to it. uh, we can see what it does is by clicking on it, it'll say load web page. I set it up to Google. It just says for more information go to Google, and if I do click this page, it will open the browser in the Google homepage. In order to do this, okay, one second. I use this script, which again uses touch start, and it uses on touch start. It will get the avatar key and will store it in key and the key type variable called ID. Then it will create an integer variable called avatar in same sim, and will check use get agent size and the ID of the agent to check if the agent is in the same sim as the object. If it is, using the if else statement, then I just added this two strings, one of them called info and one of them called URL. In the info, um, it's the text that it will display before taking the user to that specific web page. For example, I typed in for more information, go to Google. And the URL is the URL I have set up, which is the Google homepage. So the way it works is it uses the LL load URL event, which needs the ID of the avatar that loads it, the info, which is the one I've set up here, and of course the URL for the web page. And if the avatar is not in the same sim, it will just use the event L instant message to send the message an error has occurred to the avatar that tried to use this object through the use of his ID. And these are the objects that I have added to my LSL implementation.